Hello, good evening to you. Welcome to Business on JoyNews Prime. The Institute of Chartered Accountants Ghana, the regulatory body for accounting practice in the country, says its members who were fined for playing various roles in the collapse of some banks have been given up to January 2020 to settle the fines. The ICAG says failure to pay will affect the renewal of their licenses. President of the Institute, Professor Kwame Adom Frimpong, disclosed this in an interview after hosting members of the Institute at this year's presidential luncheon in Accra. Here's a report by Ebenezer Sabuti.
Some accounting firms were found to have conducted themselves in a manner contrary to international rules of practicing in accounting. According to the president of the Institute of Chartered Accountants Ghana, some members have begun the process to redeem their fines and have been given up to January 2020 to make all their payments. This, he said, is part of moves to promote good ethics in the industry.
Without that, you can't practice. So it's not a matter of giving them time. Some of the firms have threatened and we are yet to reply them. Some are asking for some time and some are asking for, a rebate or something of that sort. But of course, more means they will pay. We know our members.
But does that mean if up to January they have not been able to pay, you will not renew their license?
You see, the accountant's license is renewable every year. And it's ICA which renews the license of every member. So whether you are fined or you are not fined, 1st January, if you haven't renewed your license, it means you can't practice. Moreover, you owe. So by all means, they will pay before their licenses are renewed. Other than that, those firms cannot practice.
But how does the ICAG respond to some of the concerns by the firms being accused?
So what is material to them and what is material to the institute may differ. You see, you should have underlined this one. And so if I don't underline it, it doesn't matter. What I want is the answer. So the materiality depends on individual and the perception of that person. So to us, it's material to us. That's why we publish. And if you think it's not material, that one, you have to convince us.
So you do respect their views?
Oh, of course. Once they are threatening to us, we have to reply them. But remember, ICA is the regulator of our only institute which regulates accounting.
The presidential luncheon is an annual event by the ACAG to renew friendship between members and the leadership.
Economist Professor John Gachi says the current banking sector policy framework does not give room for the establishment of a bank that focuses on sharing of profits and losses by its customers. He believes an Islamic bank, when established, will fill the vacuum of giving access to credit for franchises. Professor Gachi spoke with Joy Business at the 2nd Dubai Chamber International Islamic Banking Forum here in Accra. There's more in this report.
Professor Gachi says Ghana's banking laws in its current state do not support Islamic banking, and as such, stakeholders must consider the laws and religious undertones to establishing Islamic banking in Ghana. He said when amended, it will serve as a major alternative banking.
Put in place the regulatory platform that actually brought into being Islamic banking product and services in those countries. So I believe that is the proactive nature that our central bank should actually demonstrate, and they also need to provide a roadmap. If you listen to some of the presentation, they are giving assurance as if they have the capacity to give license. As it is now, they don't have, because we don't have a regulatory framework for banking. Is highly regulated industry. You cannot give license to people to operate Islamic banking when a very clear regulatory framework is not developed. That must be done, and that is the job of the Bank of Ghana.
He believes an Islamic bank will offer the needed support to entrepreneurs.
Since Islamic banking actually focuses on financing projects in particular. In fact, one of the criticisms some scholars give is that it focuses less on consumer credit, but focuses more on projects and entrepreneurial ideas. So getting some support in terms of providing for infrastructure will provide another source of funding to finance infrastructure in the country. As I said, the Islamic Development Bank has a lot of facility for that purpose.
Head of Dubai Chamber in Ghana, Cyril Dakwa, on his part says it is time to establish Islamic banks to bring much competition to banking services in the gaps where services to entrepreneurs are lacking.
Now, the next step that Dubai Chamber will be doing is to engage government, the Bank of Ghana, the Ministry of Finance at that high level to see how we can assist them, whether it's in terms of training, financial support, because there are lots of Dubai-based Islamic finance institutions that have reached out to our office with offers of training and support. So as a next step from this event, we hope to engage government, which is the final say in this issue, on how we can bring all these bodies together and dialogue on how we can actually let Islamic banking and finance take off in Ghana.
Fred Doho's report.
Now, officials from the Excise Unit and Task Force Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority have embarked on an exercise in Sekondi Takoradi to ascertain whether retail shops are complying with the tax stamp policy and also check the use of the tax stamp authenticator. The task force confiscated products with fake excise tax stamps at some popular supermarkets within Sekondi and Takoradi. Principal Revenue Officer at the GRA, Nelson Bright Achu, explains taxpayers have up to 30 days to apply for restoration of their products.
The rationale behind this operation is to enforce compliance through the introduction of the Ghana Excise Tax Stamp Authenticator to the public. By this, retailers, wholesalers, and even the consuming public are in the position to ascertain, to authenticate the products with stamps that they buy from shops or from retail ends. Yes, in our monitoring in Takoradi, we have seen that there is some level of compliance. However, some products we have identified as stamps have been misapplied on them. In other words, you will see beer or a product that is beer having a soda stamp on it. Even though the stamp is genuine, it is not the appropriate stamp for beer. So there is a case of misapplication there, and that has revenue implications. Such products are taken off the shelf and seized. Seizure notices are given to the taxpayer involved, and the taxpayer has 30 days within which to apply for the restoration of his goods after the payment of the appropriate duties and taxes. My advice to shop owners is to take advantage of the Ghana Excise Tax Stamp Authenticator, download it from Google Play Store, test or check the products that they take in from suppliers, making sure that the stamp is appropriate, or the stamp is the description of the exact product they are buying or holding in their hand.
And that's all in business for the first segment. I'll return with more business after 8.